Hey guys, welcome to Salesforce tutorials. Hope you are staying safe. So this is one of the video of the Lightning Web Component series. In this video, we'll be looking on how we can call Apex method from Lightning Web Components. So let's start. So before we begin, let's do a quick recap what all topics we have already covered. So first session we had was introduction where we looked into what are Lightning Web Components, what is the difference between Aura and Lightning Web Components, and how we communicate between child to parent and sibling components. Then the second session was on templates, where we looked into how we can utilize templates for creating markup, and how can we conditionally render the markup, and iteration and all. So everything related to template was there in the second video. Third video, we looked into how we can style a markup, what are the different ways of adding CSS to our components. So yeah, that was third video. Then in the fourth video, we looked into the lifecycle flows. What is the life cycle of a Lightning Web component, and what are the different lifecycle hooks that we can utilize to embed our custom logic. These are all four videos we have already covered. So if you want to know anything about this, you can go to our channel and check for the Lightning Web Component series. There you'll get all the videos. So this is the fifth video in which we'll be looking into how we can call Apex methods. So let's start. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon. That will help us to reach out to you better and quicker whenever we release any of our new videos. So let's start. So in today's agenda, what we have is, so there are three ways of calling your Apex method from Lightning Web Components. One is wiring a property. Property will be like you're calling a Apex method and you're getting some response, and directly you are mapping that response to one of the property. Or you get a response and you call a function, and in that function you want to do some logical operations on whatever response you have received from the Apex. And third one is calling method imperatively. So let's see what are all these three types in which we can call our Apex method. So how to call uh, Apex method. So first thing is you will always be having import lightning element from LWC. So we'll be adding wire here, wiring a method. Okay. So and then we'll be importing our Apex controller. So the syntax is @salesforce/Apex for calling any of the methods, Apex methods, and then slash your controller name, your class name dot your method name. And the syntax also says, like, for by default, if you're on the same namespace, then it's fine. But if you are having a different namespace, then you have to mention namespace dot class name dot method name. Okay. So this was for defining, and how to call that method is just like @wire, and in that you pass two attributes. One is what method you're calling, which you have defined in import, which is find accounts. So I have mentioned it here, and the second attribute takes your JSON, where you specify what all input parameters are there for that method. So my this find accounts in my controller methods takes one attribute, which is a search key. So basically it is searching an account on the basis of some search key, and it looks into the name field of the account. And you see, like, we are not directly mapping it, we are having a dollar sign here. So this is like making it responsive, making it reactive. So these are known as reactive parameters. So what happens is whenever this search key, my search key attribute will change, automatically this method will be called again, and whatever the response will be directly mapped into this attribute, this property. So that's why it is known as wire a property, like wiring a property directly to a property. Then we'll see what is the second way. Second way is wiring to a function. So see the difference here. We were directly mapping it to one of the properties, whereas in function, only the difference is you are wiring to a function. So we have created a function handle account results, and the result, like response from our Apex method, we are getting in value attribute, and then it's our call how to iterate over that, or how to parse that, or whatever logical operations you want to have. So what I'm doing here is just like mapping whatever response I'm getting back to this dot accounts. Okay. So these were the two ways. Same way we have this reactive property in this also. These are known as wire methods. We have this reactive property here also. So whenever my search key is changing, it will automatically go and call my Apex method, and it will get a response, and it will directly map it to accounts attribute. Okay. Now the third way is importing will be same. We are importing the method of that Apex controller. Here what we are doing is, see, we have written a function. Inside that function, we are directly calling this find accounts, and it is taking the parameter, your all the input parameters for your Apex method, so search key, and in that we are passing the search key. This is not reactive. So whatever search key is, like if I'm searching for Bob, so I'll directly enter the Bob here. So I'm just mapping it to the direct attribute of our web component, and we are using promises here. So then you will get a result. What I'm doing is I'm directly mapping my result to the value attribute and then into the accounts. And if there is some issue, if there is some error, then it will go to catch, and I'm catching that error and again mapping it to account. So first what I'm doing is, first there's a value attribute in which it has two parameters. One is data, one is error. So depending on whatever I'm getting, I'm mapping to that, and that I'm keeping that into accounts. So I'll show you why I'm doing this. I could have done directly map the data into accounts, and I could have displayed it. Yeah, but I'll show you why I'm doing this. So this was a little bit theory. I'll tell more about this. So let's jump into the real-time demo. You'll understand it better. So let's start with the code, or first starting with the code, let me show you what I'm doing here. So this is my org. What I have done, I've created one component which is responsible for calling an Apex, and I've added that as one of the tabs in my case. Ignore where I've placed it. It's just randomly I placed on case page. When I go to this tab calling Apex, what I'm doing is I'm showing accounts, and there is a search field. What I will do is I'll enter a character. When I enter a character, you'll see I'm getting, these are the account names that I have in my system. So it displays me all the names in each row. These are the names of my accounts that I have. And if I enter PLC, yeah, so there was only one account which has PLC in the name. Basically, it is searching whenever you change the value in the search. So there's a on change event which is getting called, and it was changing the results. Okay, so now I'll show you how this is happening. So let's jump into the code and see what I'm doing. First, I'll start with my controller, Apex controller. What I have done in my Apex controller is I have created one method, find accounts, which is taking the search key, and key I'm adding this search key into this string key, where I'm adding these percentage signs. So it will be like wherever your suppose name is something Bob, and I'm entering O, and the search key is O, so it will be percent O percent. So it will be looking like there can be some character before O and some character after O as well. So these are known as wildcards. So we are using that wildcard search here, and the query is on accounts where like key or name equals to key. So we are doing both things. It can be equal to key as well. And we are using this security enforced. So security enforced will be taking care of all your object level and field level permissions. So now we'll see what we have done in the component. So this is my component. In my component, I've created a lightning card, okay, in which I have mentioned the title and the icon. I have randomly picked the icon. Don't see what I have picked. And there is one input, lightning input, which is of type search. And on change, I'm calling handle key change. So whenever I enter something, and the value gets changed in the field. My handle key change is called, and then I'm doing the operation, search operation from there. And so I have created one attribute in my component which is search key and directly mapped to this field. Then this is my one div where I'm showing it like when this account is initialized, then only I'm displaying this section. And inside this section, I have two templates or two sections which are displayed like when accounts.data is there, then it will be displayed, and when error is there, error will be displayed. Okay. And inside that, I have one for each loop where I'm iterating over the data, like the account records that I'm getting, and I'm displaying the account name. Okay. Now we'll see how we are getting the data. So let's jump back to our JS file. So first, just focus on two things. So there is one find accounts, the way I showed you in my PPT. This is my controller dot method, apex method. I have tagged it to find accounts, and I've created a wired method. See, I've imported it. This wire, I have used at the rate wire annotation, and in this I'm passing two parameters. First is find accounts, and second is the search key. Okay, with a reactive parameter, and whatever is I'm getting back is directly getting mapped to accounts. Okay, and ignore this for now and focus on this handle key change. What I'm doing on handle key change is whenever my value is changed, I'm getting an event. From that event, I'm taking out the value and getting it in search key. Then what I'm doing is I'm mapping that search key to my this search key property which is declared here. Okay, I'm putting that value here. I could have done that simply, but why this window clear timeout and why this delay timeout? So what I've done is I've given a delay of 1 second. So whenever you enter a key, I've given a 1 second time. Like I go and fetch the details after 1 second. So it's like you keep on typing in every key click, it will go and search. So there will be multiple requests getting fired for the server. So what I'm doing is, okay, you clicked T, code came here. It looked for, there was no delay timeout. It was free. So we came here, we use the set timeout, and after 1 second, this code was called and my search key was set into this. Okay. This was called after 1 second. Before 1 second, if I click some other key again, it will again come here. It will check if this is there, delay timeout. Yes, it is there. It will clear timeout. So whatever operation was scheduled for happening after 1 second will not happen now. The new operation will happen. So suppose first you clicked S, then you click T within 1 second. So your S, the request for S will be discarded, and now S and T will be going into the search key, and that request will get processed. And as we told, like for wire, as and when this property gets changed, the search key gets changed, it is a reactive property. This will again fire a request to my Apex and so basically server and get the list of accounts. So this is the same thing happening currently on my page. If I go back, you can see if I type PT, there are no results. If I type L, so you can see it is taking some time to get the results because I have added that delay there, 1 second delay. Okay. Now, I guess you are clear with this. There is one more concept. So these wire properties are cached. So how to make cached for or enabled? This cacheable equals to true should be present there. So it is mandatory for if you are using that wire property, you have to make it cacheable, which is mandatory. And when you make it cacheable, what it does is if the search key is same, it will look into the cache till the cache is stale and it will bring you the data and display. If the cache is stale, it will again go back to the server and bring the records and again display. Yeah, so that caching mechanism is introduced and it is mandatory with the wire attributes. Okay. But for the third imperative way, it is not mandatory. So you can make it cacheable. It depends on you. Okay, so yeah, wire a property we have seen. Now what we will do is we'll comment out this and we will uncomment this section, which is wire a function. Okay, now what we are doing in this account, so basically the if you are directly wiring a property, what you will get here in accounts, you will not directly get the records. What you will get is something like this. If you I talk about the JSON, it will look something like this: data, and in that you have the list of records or like whatever object you're sending, then error colon, it depends like what is there. Okay, if it was a success, you will get the list of records. If it was a failure, you will get the error. So the structure looks like this. That's why in our HTML file we are checking this, if data is there or error is there. So if error is there, display error. If data is there, display data. So this is like a standard structure followed by wire service. Okay, so now what we are doing here is I'll remove this. Yeah, so I'm not removing this accounts attribute. I'll reuse this for my function, wire function. In this, what I'm doing is find accounts, search key, and in handle account results, we are getting value. Value will again have the same, as this is also wired function. So it will again follow that same structure of data and error. So whatever I'm getting here, I'm directly patching it into accounts. Okay. So now again, my accounts will have data or error. If data is there, it will iterate over that and display the accounts. So let's see this in action. I will save my code, and same handle key change will work for my function as well. So whenever my search key is changed, again it will go and set this value, and my this property is reactive. Again, it will go and call this wire function. Okay. Yes, so this is done. Let me go back, refresh my page, and see if it is working or not. I type T. Yes, I'm getting. It is working fine. Same 1 second delay, and but it is bringing the records whenever I change the value. Okay, I just type force. So now, uh, if like I'm not adding that delay, there will be 5 requests fired: one for F, then FO, FOR, FORC, and then FORCE. But because I added delay, and what I'm saying, like something typed within 1 second, remove the earlier request and send the new one. So now only one request went to the server, which is forced. Okay. So here we have seen how to wire a property and then how to wire a function. Then always the best practice is to go for the wire functions, like wire property or wire function. If you have some scenario which you cannot handle with this, then go for imperative method. Okay. Why we are saying that, why to go for wire functions or wire properties? Because these wire have some mechanism written in background to fetch the details from Apex. And if you are using wire properties, there is some mechanism which is getting handled by Salesforce, and Salesforce keeps on optimizing that. So yeah, that process will be always optimized, and you'll be getting the result faster as and when Salesforce optimizes it. Okay. But whereas if you go for imperative method, there will be no impact if they optimize their code. Okay, or optimize their fetching mechanism. Okay. So now we have seen wiring a property and we have seen wiring a function. Now we'll see wiring, not wiring. Now we'll see imperative method. Okay, where is my imperative method? Here is my imperative method. What I'm trying to do here, my imperative method is written here: find accounts, in which I'm passing the search key and I'm getting the result. So if I'm getting the result, data, I'm mapping it to accounts like value.data and then that value into accounts. Or if error, then again. So basically I'm trying to follow the same because I'm trying to reutilize this. attribute and the structure that I have here. If I'm not following that structure, then I have to again create this markup specifically for imperative, but I don't want to do that. That's why I have made my code a little bit complex. But yeah, I guess it is easy to understand. And so yeah, we are putting these values depending on error or data or the list of records that we receive. How this is getting called, we'll see that. So now this reactive property will not support here. So what we will do is we will map the value, and when we'll map the value, what we'll do, we'll call this function. Okay. So whenever a request comes in, search key gets changed. We are setting the value to search key, and then we are calling this function. What this function will do, it will go and get the results based on the new search key, and it will display accordingly. Let me save the code and show you how it is working. Yep, code got saved. So I'm back to my tab. Let me again try searching force. Yes, I got my result. Yes, F is there in 3 names, account names. Yeah, so see, I'm getting all the results as per the search key I'm changing, and this was the imperative method. Okay, now the request is like you want to change, like you want to refresh. Suppose your this screen is displayed, and in background your one account was deleted or something happened, and like you want to have a separate refresh action. What you can do then, so I have done one thing. I guess we are clear with all the 3 ways. Now I'll show you how to refresh. Let me go back to the first method of wiring a property. Let me save this, and I have already created a button for refreshing, and I'll save this. So basically this is my refresh button, which is calling refresh records. And what is my refresh records? It is, this function is kept here, and inside this what I'm calling is refresh apex, and I'm passing accounts. Accounts is my attribute, which is my void attribute. Okay, and from where this refresh apex is coming. So whenever you are working with void functions or void properties, you have to import this refresh apex from @salesforce/apex. This will help you to refresh, basically get your call your apex method again and get the data, fresh data. Okay, so we'll be calling this refresh apex and passing the property which is mapped to that wire. Okay, we'll deploy this. Deployed. Now we'll see if our button is coming up. Button is where it got missed. Let me go back. I added it. I saved it. Let me save it again. Yes, it got saved. Let me go and refresh the page. I have refreshed my page. Yes, I got the refresh button. Now what I'll do is I'll duplicate this tab. I'll go to my accounts. Okay. I'll search for B. I'm getting this Burlington Textiles Corps of America. I'll refresh this. Yes, nothing is happening because this account is still there. Now what I'll do is I'll just delete this account. Mm, okay, this account is associated to some case. We cannot delete it. Let's try for some other record. We'll go for Salesforce. Let's try deleting Salesforce. Delete. Yes, it got deleted. Now what we'll do is we'll refresh it. Yes, see it is gone. So what we called in backend, when you click on refresh button, refresh records is getting called, and refresh records is basically calling refresh apex, which is getting the wired property. Okay. Now the question comes, how to refresh once we are having a wired function. So same thing, in a wired function, you must be keeping this wired property somewhere, this value somewhere. So I'm keeping in accounts, same attribute I'm using. So I have to pass the same attribute. So like wherever you are keeping the results of wire function or a wire property, you have to specify that property while calling the refresh apex. Okay, so it will refresh your records. Then how to refresh records in when you're working with imperative methods. So yeah, how you can do that is again call this function. So what I can do is instead of calling refresh apex, I can call my this function again, this function, and I'll comment it out. Okay. So this will again, whenever you click on refresh, this will again call handle load, and this will again call my Apex controller and get the values. Okay. So these were the three ways in which we can call the Apex. I guess you are clear. If you have any questions, you can post a comment on the video and I'll respond with the answers. That's it for the demo. Let's go back to our PPT. Yeah, that's it for our session. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So in the next session, so basically this session we focused how we can call our Apex controllers. And in our next sessions, we'll be focusing on the Lightning Data Service. So basically how to utilize Lightning Data Service and how to utilize the UI API to get records, to get schema without writing an Apex. Okay, that will be an interesting session. Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Please do subscribe so that we can reach out to you sooner. Thank you.